watching the Uncharted Echoes podcast. Here are your hosts, Brady and Victoria Owens.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everybody tuning in. Welcome. You are watching or listening to the first ever episode, the inaugural episode of the Uncharted Echoes podcast. I am your lead host, Brady Owens, and I'm joined today alongside a special guest. She is making her podcast debut. That is my lovely wife, Mrs. Victoria Owens. How you doing?
Hello, everybody.
Very excited. Well, bear with her because she's never done a podcast. I've been in the podcast world for some time now, so it's going to take her a little bit of time to warm up talking to a camera. But we know y'all are all out there listening. So you excited, babe?
Yeah.
I'm excited. We're going to dive into some wild conspiracy theories every week, and give our takes. I'm gonna share a conspiracy theory. She'll share one. And if y'all have any conspiracy theories that y'all want to share, message us. You can message me on any social media at Brady Owens. Instagram is Brady Owens 1776. TikTok, same, Brady Owens 1776. And eventually we will be on YouTube, and you can always comment any stories that you may have as well, and we'll share one of your stories. But anyways, let's just dive right in. How about it? So I pulled up a conspiracy theory that I'm not too familiar with, but seems very interesting. Have you heard of the phantom time hypothesis?
No.
Me neither. And that's why...
Sounds interesting.
Anything with phantom sounds interesting, and hypothesis is always a fun word to say. But anyways, I do want to jump into this one. It seems pretty crazy. So you're watching. Let's dive right in. Today, we are going to be diving into a conspiracy theory that is so wild, it doesn't just rewrite history, but it deletes almost 3 centuries. 3 centuries. I'm talking 300 years. And it's called the phantom time hypothesis. And if it were true, that's the thing about conspiracy theories, they might be true, they might not. But if this one were true, we wouldn't be in the year 2025 currently. Right now, we wouldn't be in 2025. We would actually be somewhere around the year 1728. Yeah, you heard that right. 1728. You see, this theory suggests that nearly 300 years of the Middle Ages never actually happened.
That's crazy.
It's wild. So, before I explain how this theory really came about, let me ask you, if someone told you we were living in the wrong year and we lost centuries of history that were never legit, what would your reaction be?
I mean, you gotta be lying.
Right. The thing about conspiracy theories, you'd really never know. But now, if they said, here's the proof, if this wasn't just a conspiracy, they actually laid out proof, and they said, it's not 2025. It's the actual current year is the year 1728. You'd be pretty mind blown, right?
Yeah.
Well, the origins of the story, this conspiracy theory started all, in 1991, which is before I was born, so it's crazy that I haven't heard about this one yet. It's before both of us were born. We were born a couple years later, but anyways, it started in 1991 with a German historian named, and I might get this wrong, Herbert Illig. I'll say Illig. Herbert Illig, and if you're watching and you're a history buff and you know exactly how to say it, just put how to pronounce it in the comments so we can see how right we were or how wrong we were. Anyways, a German historian, Herbert Illig proposed that the years AD 614 to 911 were completely made up. Almost 300 years of phantom time inserted into the current calendar. And according to him, powerful rulers conspired to rewrite history so their reigns lined up with the special year 1000 AD. The main suspects, well, we're talking about Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and Byzantine Emperor Constantine I don't know Roman numerals, so it's V11. I can't think of what the actual
V11
number is.
Not like 5. V11.
V11. All right, so y'all tell us in the comments what V11 is, because I didn't prep for that, and I live in current time, so I don't count everything Roman numeral. While my wife looks that up, we'll find out exactly the Emperor Constantine, whatever number he is. But while she looks that up, I will say Illig believed they literally invented events. They constructed the idea of these events, these documents, in like actual hard copy documents, even entire rulers, just to legitimize their power. Did you have up what V11 is? 7. You were close. So Byzantine Emperor Constantine the VII. So Illig believes that there were literally events, documents, and entire rulers that were just created, like that were just made up, just to legitimize their power, to make them seem more powerful. I mean, does that sound more like brilliant manipulation, or is that just too crazy to pull off? And the fact that they probably did.
That's like mastermind manipulation.
Yeah, I mean, if this conspiracy theory is true, we're all still being manipulated. I mean, it's pretty crazy. But the case that they build off, that Illig builds off of it, one of his big arguments is about archaeology. He claimed that compared to the other time periods, there's a suspicious lack of evidence, like buildings, coins, artifacts, from 1614 to 9/11. So from the year 1614 to 9/11, there's not a lot of archaeology. There's not a lot of coins and buildings and stuff. Like, there's just not much from that time period. And we're talking 300 years. If you look back, you and I are both 31 during the time of the recording. In 31 years, look at how much has changed in that 31 years.
I mean, a lot's changed.
Everything's changed. And we're talking 300 years of hardly any change at all. Like, nothing really. Like, if you look at the buildings, and stuff like that from 1614, and you fast forward to 9/11, 300 years later, they look pretty. There's not a lot of change.
Well, I mean, look at the roads and cars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything in today's world has changed significantly. So we're talking 300 years, hardly any to no change. So why would nothing change in that 300 years? It's pretty crazy. That's one of his biggest, the archaeology is, or lack thereof, is his biggest argument, which makes a lot of sense. He also pointed out that Charlemagne, one of the most famous kings of the Middle Ages, and he said he was either massively exaggerated, like talked up to be like so much better than he really was, or he was completely made up. And then there's the calendar problem. When the Georgian calendar was introduced in 1582, it corrected the old Julian calendar by 10 days, which doesn't seem like a ton, but still, 10 days. Illig said mathematically the error should have been much bigger. Or not much bigger, but a lot bigger, like 13 days. So there's that big error. He took that as proof that we had been counting extra phantom years all along. There's a lot of years that just possibly don't exist. Have you ever noticed how weird it is that we trust the calendar so blindly? I mean, if someone back then added years, we really wouldn't know. How would we know?
I mean, that goes back to like astrology.
Yeah.
the stars.
Yeah, I mean, and there's ways to tell, but if, you know, if 400 years ago somebody erased 3 days in history, or they added 3 days, and we live today teaching in history that this is correct, we would never know whether or not they actually did. Like now we trust the calendar so blindly. We trust it like it's, day, what is it? We know it's day 27 of September in the year 2025. We just believe that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't question it. That's how we've been raised for our 31 years to know that's what the day it is. We know that we were born, or that I was born in 93 of, December. I know that. Like, that's how I was. My 31 years, that's when I was born. That's my birthday. It's what we celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
But what if I wasn't born in 93? What if the year is just all wrong? It's crazy.
That'd make us way older.
Well, no, I mean, we would be the same age. It's just we wouldn't be in the year 2025. Like, they added 300 years that don't exist. Like they said, so that's like, it's 2025 right now. If we look and we say, you know what? It's actually, 21, 25. We add 100 years. And then we say, that's correct. It's no longer 2025. There's actually been 100 more years that were found. So we're in the wrong year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything's the same. We're the same age. The only thing that's different is the year is different. There are 300 years in history that was made up. The Middle Ages don't exist. Everything we know about the Middle Ages is just made up.
Mm.
It's all fairy tale stories. And like I said, this is all conspiracy theory. We aren't stating that that's true. It's just conspiracy theory. Now, some of the strange evidence, Elig even pointed out, and this is where, you were just talking about, Elig even pointed out to astronomy. He argued that some medieval records of eclipses and comets, they don't quite match up with a modern science, what modern science says should have been visible at the time. And then there's architecture, like we were talking about, some styles, like Romanesque, and the look, it looked too advanced for the years, they were supposedly built in. To him, this was all evidence that the timeline had been stretched, had been expanded, had, non-existent. So if you found out tomorrow that the Charlemagne was a totally made up person, totally made up ruler, and like, how would that change the way you think about history? Like, his entire reign was just it's not real. And the history books and everything, that never existed.
Well, I mean, it have me question what else might have not been.
It would completely restructure your belief in history. And now, as as believers, I will believe the Bible. Everything in the Bible is legit because it has not been debunked. Regardless of how many times people have tried to, it is not. So even if my history was all thrown off, I will still believe everything I read in the Bible. I just want to make that clear.
Well, I mean, also, there is other stuff that's in the history that they have left out on purpose.
Oh, yeah. And that's what conspiracy theories really is all the stuff that have been left out purposely, whether it's knowledge or actually events, or how events had actually,
what that person did,
transpired, what the people did. That's the fun thing about conspiracy. It's a classic, who done it and why they do it. Whether it's people taking history and throwing fake history in there, like, hey, this 300 years actually happened, when in reality they didn't. They did not happen.
leaving out information on that person just so they don't look bad.
Yeah, I mean, usually people who, usually conspiracy theories are built around situations or people to cover their true morale.
Yeah.
Their usually really bad people or do something really bad and
George
they try
Washington.
to hide it. But we could go on and on and on. And
Another story.
Good thing is that we will be going on and on and on because there's going to be multiple episodes of tons of different conspiracy theories. If there's a specific conspiracy theory you want us to talk about, then message us or comment us. We'll go over it. Yeah. So the fun what if, it's still hard not to play the what if game. What if illegal was right? What if 3 centuries were really just invented? That would mean castles, cathedrals, even parts of religion and politics were based all on false history, non-existent history. That would mean right now we'd be all living in the 1700s.
That's crazy.
Absolutely crazy. America wouldn't even really exist yet. The Renaissance might never have happened. Our whole cultural timeline would just collapse.
Mm-hmm.
If we suddenly learned we were actually in the year 1728, what do you think would happen? Like, if everybody globally knows that we are actually in the year 1728, would people panic? Would they just shrug and say, well, the Wi-Fi still works, who cares?
Yeah. No, I think they'd have some... They have to. They have to have some kind of panic.
Yeah, I mean...
Drawn.
I think the panic, it wouldn't be... yeah, of course the Wi-Fi is still going to work. The cars are still going to work. We're still going to have to go to work. The panic would be, like you said earlier, is what else is fake? What else isn't real?
That their whole life was a lie.
Right, yeah. I mean, it'd be like the Truman Show. You realize your entire life is just that. Just a show. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy to think about how everything could just be wrong. And it's wild. But the bottom line is the phantom time hypothesis is one of those conspiracies that makes you question the foundation of reality itself. Almost no historians believe it. They don't think it's legit. But the idea still sticks around because it scratches that itch we all have, What if everything we've been taught is a lie? Personally, you had a question?
Mm-mm.
Personally, I think the evidence against it is strong, but at the same time, history has been rewritten before, and that's why there are conspiracy theory podcasts. I think the evidence against it is, though it's strong, but by wars, by propaganda, by whoever was holding the pen, the history pen, maybe the real question isn't, are we living in the 1700s, but how much history do we take for granted just because someone wrote it down and said this is legit?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Bible, there's a lot of archaeology, there's a lot of things that help confirm that. Again, it's been tried but has not been debunked.
It all goes back to the stars.
Yeah. So would you want to live in a world where 300 years of history were erased and it's actually the 1700s, or is that too much chaos?
Honestly, I don't know.
I think I would. I think I like it the way it is. Just because if it did come out to be true, I wouldn't be able to trust anything. That's
the whole system. You wouldn't be able to trust the whole system.
Yeah, everything would just be untrustworthy. And it already currently is. All the current conspiracy theories that have come out true, or the ones that are even, there's new conspiracies every day that make you question. It's almost like we want to chase them, but I don't know if we want them to be true.
That there's people that believe that everyone, all in a, what is it called?
Simulation.
A simulation.
I have heard that one, and that is one we will discuss because that one is wild. But anyways, yeah, so I think that one is one that we may dive more into after doing a little bit more research. But what about you? I mean, do you have a conspiracy theory you want to look at?
Yeah, there's actually one that I found. Have you heard the Great Molasses Flood conspiracy?
Great Molasses Flood conspiracy. I don't think I've heard that one.
Okay, so
Nice.
imagine this. You're walking through Boston's North End on the cold January day in 1919. Suddenly you hear a rumble and then boom. Within seconds, a 25-foot wall of molasses, like syrup, right?
Right.
Is racing down the street at 35 miles per hour. That's fast.
Yeah, faster than I can run.
The roads here in town are 30.
Yeah.
So, buildings are flattened, people and horses are swept away, and the
Jeez.
city is left covered in sticky syrup for weeks. I already don't like the feel of syrup on clothes,
Yeah.
let alone streets
That's-
and your car and everything.
yeah, that would bring chaos, that's for sure.
So, sounds like the setup to a dark comedy, right?
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to watch a movie about that.
Yeah, but no, this is real.
Oh.
And 21 people lost their lives that day. Only 21.
21 is still a lot. There, in current day, tornadoes that destroy cities. I mean, the death toll usually doesn't leave out of the tens. The 21 is actually a pretty big number.
Yeah, so 21 deaths, 150 injured.
Imagine you're going to work and then having to come up with an excuse for why you were late. And being like, a whole bunch of syrup just took out my city.
Yeah,
I'm going to be late today.
my car is not functional.
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy.
Wow.
It's remembered as the Great Molasses Flood. But here's the kicker. Was it really just a freak accident, or was there something darker behind it?
Okay, so the flood actually happened,
Mm-hmm.
but how it happened is the conspiracy.
Yeah. Like, was it on purpose?
Oh no, you got me hooked.
So, the official explanation is that the storage tank, 50 feet tall, 90 feet wide, filled with over 2 million gallons of molasses, simply failed.
So it's just an accidental, it just failed, and
Yeah.
then it all came pouring out.
Yeah, just huge error. Bad steel, rushed construction, winter temperatures, all of that combined to cause it to burst. But some people believe there's more to it. Maybe like sabotage, cover-ups,
Well,
even government corruption.
well, that's not anything new.
No. So today, we're diving into the sticky details of the Great Molasses Flood and asking if Boston's sweetest disaster was really an accident at all.
Very welly worded. Yeah, I'm hooked.
Yeah, so. Okay, so before we get into the conspiracy theories, let me ask you, if you had to guess, how could molasses possibly become dangerous enough to wipe out an entire neighborhood?
What's the question? If you were to ask me,
How?
how? I'm the one thing I do know, like you said, if you get syrup on your shirt, just the little drop is near impossible to get out.
No, it smears.
Yeah, and if I'm talking about waist deep or more coming at 35 miles an hour, I absolutely believe it. I mean, look at what tsunamis do, and those are just water.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about thick syrup, molasses, like that's, yeah. I mean, I've seen water and hurricanes take buildings down and trees down. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how, but I can picture, how it's possible.
The mess.
Yeah, cleaning that up.
So at around what they say, 12:30 in the afternoon on January 15th, 1919, the tank exploded. Witness said they heard something like a machine gun firing, rapid pops, before the tank split open. Then came the wave. Imagine, you just said it, a tsunami.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of water, it's sticky, heavy syrup. People said the force was so strong that it literally lifted a train off its tracks. Horses were trapped instantly. People who tried to run couldn't, but they got stuck, dragged under by the molasses that was waist deep in the streets. Okay, so now imagine this. Imagine being caught in something like that. Do you think you could even fight your way out of molasses that thick?
I honestly no. I don't. I really don't think if you're like in it and then it's just moving at a because this isn't syrup that just fell straight down and is sitting still. It's constantly moving. So if it's moving, you're moving with it.
Yeah.
So anytime you try to fight out, you're just going to keep moving with it. And of course, I just try to keep my head above it because that, I mean, you will drown regardless.
Yeah.
Whether it's water, syrup, or anything. I mean, yeah. My question is, would you rather drown it with water or syrup? I'd have to say, I feel like water would just be a quicker way to go.
Well, yeah. I mean, this would be like slow,
I know we're getting dark, so.
agonizing.
But yeah. Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so here's where things get sticky. Pun intended.
Nice.
Some theorists say it really was sabotage. Boston was dealing with labor strikes and anarchist bombings in 1919. Just a few months earlier, homemade bombs had gone off in several U.S. cities, including Boston. So, was the tank targeted because U.S. industrial alcohol was making millions by turning molasses into ethanol for wartime weapons? It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible, and that sounds like something that, I mean, I wouldn't put it past
No.
them.
I mean, especially since the locals swore they heard those machine gun pops before the tank burst.
Yeah, and that's when we're talking about, like, you talk about 9/11, and there's so many, and that's another conspiracy theory we'll dive into, but, so you've heard how demolitions sound, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you see it fall before you hear the explosion.
So you hear the explosion before you see it fall. So right now we're not going to see it here, but I'm playing a video of an actual demolition. So you hear you hear like pop, 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 and then you see it coming down. And that's what people swore they heard on 9/11. Who were on the streets, they heard pop, 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 and then the building started collapsing. And that is a sign of purposeful demolition. They sound like machine guns. They sound like bam, 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 bam. So fingers are pointing towards it being a purposeful sabotage.
Yeah. Okay, so the locals swore they heard those machine gun pops before
Right.
the tank burst. maybe explosives instead of metal giving way, like you said.
Yeah, like a demolition.
Yeah. So the official story, uh, the U.S. Industrial Alcohol Company, the folks who owned the tank, blamed the disaster on sabotage. They claimed anarchists planned the bomb. Remember, this was right after World War One,
Right.
during the Red Scar, when fear of immigrants and am I saying that anarchists
Anarchist, yeah, you're right.
was everywhere. Convenient scapegoat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but investigators eventually proved otherwise. The tank had been poorly built. The steel was too thin, and the company skipped basic safety tests.
I mean, yeah, I mean that could be true, but again, to me one of the biggest signs is hearing the pop 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 pop. It sounds like a demolition. Um, and back then I don't know, but nowadays buildings don't just burst or collapse. That
No,
doesn't happen. But we're talking how many years difference? Yeah,
1919.
like that. The Everything was different back then as far
Yeah.
as construction and stuff.
Yeah. But in the end, they were found liable and paid over $500,000 in damages. Huge money for that time.
I was about to say $500,000 back then was a lot.
Yeah. But
nowadays you can't even buy a 2-bedroom house for
no.
$500,000.
No. So, do you buy the bad engineering explanation, or do you think it's just the cover story that's stuck?
As a ideal in my mind conspiracy theorist, I feel like just from what you've talked about, and I've never heard this story before. I hate to say that people would risk other people's lives to cover stuff up, but it sounds like a purposeful, cover up.
I mean, it's happened. It's
current.
happened
It
before.
happens all the time. I mean, I'm just saying it makes more sense as a cover up than it just failed and Syrup covered the entire town.
Yeah.
Like
Of
that.
all materials.
Yeah.
So, if it was sabotage, do you think the most likely suspects would have been who? Who do you think the most likely suspects would have been? Rival companies, political radicals, or maybe someone inside the company itself?
And when you talk about conspiracy theories, everybody you just mentioned is always your lead suspects in conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
It could be political. It could be, conspiracy against rival.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's rival because it's Syrup. Now if we're talking medicine or, something like that, sabotaging, I don't know how important syrup was back then.
Molasses?
Molasses, sorry. I don't know,
what is that used for?
Well, to me, it's what we use for food.
Cooking?
Yeah. I know, and just so y'all know, I'm a history buff in certain areas, but not in all areas. I don't have all the details, but my pick would probably be political. I mean, I don't
close.
know. Yeah.
Close. The government angle. So
Yeah.
Another theory says the U.S. government quietly helped sweep this under the rug. But think about it. The molasses wasn't just for candy. It was a key ingredient for wartime munitions.
Yeah, that would make sense for it to be politically charged.
Mm-hmm. If the public found out that corners were cut or the tank wasn't safe, it could have sparked sabotage about wartime profiteering, blaming it on anarchists or just bad luck. Was much more convenient than admitting negligence in the crucial wartime supply chain.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what I figured, and again, like before I even knew what what was used for, what molasses was used for. But yeah, that just kind of confirms where my belief was kind of leaning towards, was it being politically charged.
Oh yeah. So let me throw this at you. Do you think it's more likely that the government was covering for corporate greed, or that this was just a tragic accident exaggerated by conspiracy theories?
I would like for it to be tragic accident, because I don't like to, and there's evil in the world. I mean, I don't like to think people would just completely kill other innocent life for, but to me it feels like it's a government cover up. Like it feels that's what it feels like.
Yep. So the end of it. So I guess the closing fact, whether it was just bad steel, sabotage, or government cover up, the Great Molasses Flood remains one of the history's strangest disasters. It forced U.S. companies to finally start taking safety regulations seriously. But it also left an unsolved mystery, because more than a century later, some people still believe the flood wasn't an accident at all. Maybe it was an early example of how corporations and governments spin tragedies into a story that protects their own interests.
Yeah, I mean, what do y'all think? Y'all let us know in the comments what you think, if it was politically charged, if you feel like it was a purposeful government cover up, or if it was an accident. Like, I want to hear what y'all think in the comments, and if you specialize in this conspiracy theory, if you have more information, let us know. Give us some more details.
Yeah. Let the audience answer this one last question.
Okay.
If something this bizarre or catastrophic could be brushed off as an accident, what other events in history might not be as straightforward as we've been told?
Well, I have a feeling that we will have many episodes on many of those other events that are surrounded by conspiracy theories. But yeah, that's a perfect way to end it. Y'all in the comments, tell me what y'all think other, conspiracy theories that y'all want us to discuss, and we'll discuss it. All right, so yeah, until next time, thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for taking time to dive into some conspiracy theories with us. This episode was not going to be the first episode. We literally pulled up some conspiracy theories, some quick notes, and went with it. So we'll do a lot better as far as diving into conspiracy theories. So when you let us know what conspiracy theories you want us to cover, we will do our homework and we'll dive into them. But yeah, let us know in the comments. Shoot us some messages. Thank y'all so much. And do you have any last words, babe?
See you next time.
See you next time.
This has been another episode of the Uncharted Echoes podcast. Stay connected and follow us for future episodes. Stay curious, my friends.